Karlinsky, in his anibus, in his modest way, started to make a small Siyum on Shabbos. That was the original plan. And I like big parties. And I said, Zelo Yitachem. That can't be. Because this isn't just a small festive event for Shaya and his dear Rebbitzin. This is really an event for the family. It's an event for the whole yeshiva, for the Rabbi yeshiva. And it's really an event for the whole darkly known community. For all our alumni out there, for Midrash Rachel alumni, our male and female members of our community. For any person to make a Siyum, to complete a tractate, a Hashas, is a very significant event. It means something. It's Yom Tov Rabban. It's called a Yom Tov for rabbis. You make a Siyum. We're happy on that day. You make a Suda, you make a meal. That's for any Siyum. Kal v'chomer, all the more so, a Siyum and a whole Seder. So it brings a whole Seder, Seder and Nezikin. Hadrin lach Seder and Nezikin, Hadrin lach Seder Nashim. That's already more significant. But a Siyum on all of Hashas is something altogether different. A completion of Talmud Bavli. Al Naras Bavel Sham Yashavnu. We sit on the Naharos of Bavel. We sit on the Nahari Torah, on the rivers of Torah of Bavel. That's where the Klal Yisrael is. Some people are Olet to learn Yerushalmi also, but Al Naras Bavel Yashavnu. This is where we are. Our life is on Naharos Bavel, on the Naharot, on the rivers of Bavel. Someone is open to finish that. Incredibly significant. For any person to finish that is significant on both sides. If our Rosh Yeshiva was so busy educationally, but is so busy holding up our whole institution, the men's school and the women's school, taking that farayas, taking the responsibility to fundraise, to be the buck stops here on an educational level, on a shkafik level for the institution. And especially I want to emphasize the fundraising, which sometimes you forget. I heard one of the Ramim in Panovich Yeshiva said one time, the Panovich Rav comes, he goes, Baruch Hashem, no, you don't even notice him. It's not the way it is here. Baruch Hashem, Shaya is such a koach in education, in questions and answers, in the shiur, in the men's school and the women's school, of course. But together with all that educational stuff, still to have the yoke, and to be around the world, leaving the family for weeks at a time. And Shaya, by the way, although the way he moves belies that fact, but he's not as young as you and me. And still to be at it is absolutely amazing. And I know I have a personal akarzatov. I try to express that at different times to Rebbitzin and the Rav for that involvement. For each and every member of our community has to have a akarzatov all the time. For that, amazing. When I was considering coming here, I was listening to the institution. I remember I asked someone close to Mossad what it's like here. He said, I want to say something about Rav Shaya, and then I want to add one small thing, and then I'm going to turn it over, eulogy. But he said, imagine someone who's 40 years, folks, I want to tell you, it's an accepted thing in the nonprofit world, and especially in the yeshiva world, that you pay late. I never kubal. That's the way it is. You get a job, you have to take in mind and consider how late you get paid. Is it going to be 2 months late? Is it going to be 3 months late? However done time? How about an institution for 40 years hasn't paid one time late? And Miyal Meda Hareza, who's behind that? Whose neshama is that? Who's been matzed damo to make sure that's true? And I would say a story, a small mice, something just from a small mice, and then we'll turn it over. I'll be back as just emceeing. MCs get a chance, as you saw in the Siyum Hashas, they like to talk a lot. As an MC. It's like the MC introduction, then I'm going into MC short version. I won't talk too long. It's not. I get Mishpacha magazine. So Rabbi Shaya likes Mishpacha magazine. They don't get it at home anymore. At a certain point we realized this. He said, could I give you your Mishpacha when you finish that magazine? I said, sure, why not? So it happens we get it for free for whatever reason. Rabbi Shaya said to me, you know what? If you hadn't gotten it for free, I was going to be mishatek with the hotzah. I was going to give you partially for the magazine, which I bought already. And that's the thinking. It's a small misa, which I think shows a lot about how a person thinks. I'm getting the magazine anyway. I'm paying for it in his abamina, in his default position. The default was I'm paying for Mishpacha magazine. And I'm giving you a magazine which has gone through a lot of hands already. Why should you pay for it? That's the type of person he is. Baruch Hashem, it's a tremendous plus to introduce the Siyum, to work yad b'yad with Karlinsky all the time, and we're so happy that we can be so happy together with the amazing mishpacha where we're from, and to start off the Siyum.
You gave me a thought that I agree that you can So, usually when we finish a Masechta, we try to mention the last sugya, but it's not going to be so appropriate here because the last sugya is very, very, very complicated, as is all of Maseches Nida. And so I'm just going to read the last little piece, but we'll have what to say on it and why it's, according to the Marsha, why it's put at the end of Maseches Nida. It's a section that is repeated more than once, and you know it because it's also part of davening. Tana Dvei Elio, Kol Hashona Halachos B'Kol Yom. A person who learns halachos every day, Muvtach Lo Shuhu Ben Olam Haba. He is assured that he is a member of, or going to be a Ben Olam Haba. Shenemar, pasuk, proof text. Halichos Olam Lo. Olam here implies the eternal world. Halichos is his world. Al tikri halichos ela halachos. That the halachos is what leads you to the next world, to your eternity. And Rashi says, Mishnah Braisa halacha l'Moshe b'Sinai. That's why it's in the plural according to Rashi. Hadran alach tinokos v'slikala v'seches nida. Hadran alach v'seches nida v'salmud babli v'hadran alach. Daitach alach v'seches nida v'salmud babli v'daitach alach. Lo nisnashi minach v'seches nida v'salmud babli v'lo nisnashi minon. Lo be'alma hadei v'lo be'alma da'asi. Hadran alach v'seches nida v'salmud babli v'hadrach alach. Daitach alach v'seches nida v'salmud babli v'daitach alach. Lo nisnashi minach v'seches nida v'salmud babli v'lo nisnashi minon. Lo be'alma hadei v'lo be'alma da'asi. Hadran alach v'seches nida v'salmud babli v'hadrach alach. Daitach alach v'seches nida v'salmud babli v'daitach alach. Lo nisnashi minach Maseches Nida v'Salmud Babli lo tisnashim yinon lo ba'alma hadem v'lo ba'alma de'asi. Yiratzon l'fanech adinoi Eloheinu le'avoseinu. Shetehei Torah secha u'manuseinu b'olam hazeh u'zei imanu l'olam haba. Chanina bar Papa, Rami bar Papa, Nachman bar Papa, Achoi bar Papa, Adamori bar Papa, Rafa bar Papa, Rafish bar Papa, Surpa bar Papa, Ada bar Papa, Doru bar Papa. Harev nadinoi Eloheinu es devei soras chava fidu b'fi pios amcha beis Yisrael. V'nei kulano anach b'tzetzoinu b'tzetzoinu b'tzetzoyam chabeis Yisrael. Kulano yodei shmecha v'lam deisor secha lishma. Ne'oivai techakmeni mitzvosecha, ki li'olam hili v'isami michukecha, l'ma'an lo evosh le'olam lo eshkach b'kudecha, ki v'amchi yisani baruch atah Adonai l'amdei nekukecha, amen, 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 selavoed. Modim anach l'lefanech Adonai Eloheinu v'lehei avoseinu shesamta chalkeinu v'yoshvei beis hamedrash, v'lo samta chalkeinu v'yoshvei kronos, anu mashkimim v'hem mashkimim, Anu mashkimim l'divrei sor v'hem mashkimim l'dvar b'telim anu ma'aleim v'hem amelim. Anu amelim u'makablim sachar v'hem amelim v'eina makablim sachar. Anu ratzim l'chayil ha'baba v'hem ratzim l'ber shachas shene'emar. V'atah Elohim toredim l'ber shachas anshe dam u'momira lo yichatzu yamehem v'ani evtach boch. Yiratzon l'fanech adinoi Elohai kishem she'azartan l'sayim Maseches Nida v'Salmud Babli kein tazrein l'hach l'masechtos V'sfar macherim l'saimim lilmod l'lamilish v'v'lasos l'kaidish kol divei Salmud Torah secha b'yavos chus kol ha'tanoi v'amoreh v'salmidei chachamim ya'amod liu l'zari shelo tzamush ha'torah mipi u'mipi zari v'zera zari ha'olam v'siskayim bi v'salecha tanche osach v'shach b'chas tishmor alecha ha'kitzosa hi sisichecha ki vi yirbu yamecha v'yosif l'cha shlos chayim orchim yimina v'smalo osher v'chavor adinoi oz lamo yiteim adinoi varech es amo v'shalom. He's got Ashmei Rabbo. The Alma, the who also Aschadol Achim Nasoyo, the Sakol Yashon, the Chai Olmo, the Vivne Karta, the Yerushalayim, the Shakol Hechale Bigabe, the Makar Palpana, the Chrom in Arab, the Lasova Palpana, the Shmai, the Asre, the Amalek Kucha Brihu, the Malchuse, the Korei, the Achayechon, the Yomechon, the Chayechol Basis of Agalov's Man Korib, Vimru Amen. Yishador bis alev bis alol shmei kutshab richu leila min kol birchos av shirosatush v'nechmaso, damirom v'elmovim ruamei. Al Yisrael val Rabbanon vel Talmidehon vel Kol Talmidei Talmidehon Mandel Timirais Divi Asar Kadisha Hadein V'div Kol Asar Vasar Yehelo Honol Kol Shlomo Rabbo Chino v'chizu v'rachamim v'chayina v'chino mezon v'vichei U'furkonim in Kadamavun Divi Shmaya v'Aravim Ruamei Shlomo Rabbi min Shemayo v'chayim tovim aleinu v'Kol Yisrael v'Ruamei V'aseh Shalom v'Ramo v'yaseh Shalom aleinu v'Kol Yisrael v'Ruamei about why that film is a good thing. I'm not going to repeat what you heard. Just one overview, and it's going to justify what I'm going to pull out a little piece from Daf Ayin. Because when you do Daf Yomi, you see Gemaras that I've seen over the years in isolation. You see them in context. And there's a Gemara that I've quoted many times, Shir on Bitachon, but when you see it in context, it means a lot more. But I'm going to just share it, because I think there's a lesson for all of you guys, and it's well spoken. I'm sorry, I'm overwhelmed. So the Gemara says, or bring Shlosha Divrei Derech Eretz. Ma Yasar V'Yechkam Amar Lem Yarbid Yeshiva V'Yimait B'Schor. The Gemara in Nida Daf Ayin Amud Beis. So what is a person supposed to do so that he become a Talmid Chacham? Amru Yarbid Yeshiva V'Yimait B'Schor. Should sit and learn and minimize the time he spends in business. They asked him, Amru Harbe also came below Hoil Lahem. You see, unfortunately, a lot of people sit and learn a lot and don't necessarily become such Talmidei Chachamim. El yivachu rachamim mimishaha chachma shalo. Nemar ki Hashem yitin chachma. You have to daven. You need tefillah. So says the Gemara. So then, why do I need to sit and learn? All I'll do is daven. Zebelo zelo sagi. The Gemara is going to have two more things where you need both the effort as well as the siyata d'shmaya. One of them is Ma Yesa Adam Reis Asher, Amalahem, Yarva V'Schora V'Yisaviten Be'emuna. You have to do Hishtadlus, but you also have to do your Hishtadlus honestly. Amrulei Harbu also came below you. There are many people who do a lot of business and they're very honest and they don't necessarily become rich. El Yivakesh Rachamim Mimisha Osher Shalo. You have to daven to Hashem. So why do I need both? Why do I need the work? It says because you need both. Zeb is lo zeh lo sagi. Then the Gemara says, Ma yaseh adam v'yulo banim zecharim. Banim zecharim here means upright children. It doesn't mean male children. All the portions say it means upright children. Amar lehem yisa isha hahoggenes lo. V'yikarish atzmo b'shas tashmi. The sugya of Nida, the whole Masechta of Nida is about the laws of marital relations and Tuma and Tara. So it says that to have banim that are upright, you have to choose. You have to find a wife who is hogenes. Says Rashi, what is hogenes? I'm sorry, Rashi doesn't say it. The other Meforshim say it. It means I think the Rosh says one of the other Meforshim say. It means you have to look for a wife who knows how to educate children. So the first lesson for all of you guys as you're looking for your wives is to look for a wife who, first of all, knows how to educate children. And Rabbi Schoonmaker already embarrassed me, so I have the right to embarrass my wife. The success of our family, Baruch Hashem, is because I was zocheh to a wife who knows how to educate children. If we're going to repeat it. After 70, I allow myself to give out secrets that are almost 50 years old. I remember it as clear as day, but when I proposed to the Rebbitzin, what I said to her is, I'd like you to be the mother of my children. All of you are also our children, Talmidim Arei Kevonim, and we work very hard that all of you should be Banim Hagunim, and it's an honor to have all of you as children, and I'm honored that my children are all here.
Grandchildren.
And grandchildren. That's already the mothers, their mothers. Okay, so I want to talk a minute about the last Gemara that we read. It's a Gemara that appears more than once in Shas and that you say it in davening. The idea that a person who learns halachos is Mitzvah Lo Shehu Ben Olam Haba. And the Maharal, well, maybe we'll start with the Marshal. Why does this Gemara end? Why does Maseches Nida end with this Gemara? So says the Marshal that if you study Maseches Nida, you realize that very little of it has any practical applications today. There are Torah laws of Nida and Zava, and we have the Chumrah de Rabbi Zera that today every woman does not behave the way the technical Torah law is because of all of the complications and because of the serious consequences of mistakes which are very easily done. And therefore we have the Chumrah de Rabbi Zera that basically a woman has to always count what's Shiva Nekiyim. She always has to have 7 days in Nekiyim before she can go to the mikvah. And therefore it simplifies matters in the calculations. It makes things more difficult in practice, but it makes things much simpler in the practical implementation of the halacha. So therefore, says the Marshal, one could say I don't really need the first half of Maseches Nida, because all of that is not relevant. So says the Marshal, therefore we end this knowing that you have to learn all of the details of all of the halachos. That's part and parcel of what Torah is. And here we get to the Maharal, where the Maharal talks about this in a couple of places, built on the Gemara in Sota, which we will say over very quickly because it's a very important Gemara. Torah, Kiner Mitzvah, the Torah or, that's the pasuk in Mishlei. Why, the Gemara asks, why is mitzvah compared to a lamp, a ner? Why is Torah compared to or, to light? So, it says like this. Man ner eno meir el lefisha, mitzvah eno megina el lefisha. A mitzvah has spiritual protection while you're doing the mitzvah, but not when you finish the mitzvah. Torah ba'or lomar l'chamaor meir l'olam, Torah megina l'olam. Torah has a transcendent eternal protection. The Omer b'hizalecha tancha osach, the pasuk that we just read in the Siyum. B'hizalecha tancha oscha ba'olam hazeh, b'shach tishmor alecha zu misos, v'achitzosa hi tesichecha l'osid lovo. Mashal, here's what we want to see. There's a metaphor. La'adam shaya mizhalech b'ishon layla la'avafelu misyari min ha'kotzim min ha'brakanim. Person's going in the dark and he's afraid of the thistles and he's afraid of running into all kinds of terrible things. And there's also bandits. And there's also wild animals, and he's not sure where he's going. It represents danger and confusion. And that's what we are in this world. We're in a situation of danger and confusion on a spiritual level. So what does it say? What does a person who's in the darkness do? So if he gets a torch, he can at least see where he's going and not walk in to the thistles and into the trees and off of a cliff. But he's still afraid of wild animals because he can now see where he's going, that he doesn't walk into something dangerous, but he's still vulnerable to robbers and wild animals. So, when day breaks, he can finally be saved now because he can see everything, and he's now saved from the wild animals and the thieves. There's still some confusion because he's not sure if he's on the right path. When he gets to the fork in the road where he can see which way he's supposed to go, now he knows he's on the right path. So, says the Maharal, and it's late so we're going to give it very briefly, is that Torah, Limud Torah and Limud Halacha, and the Maharal quotes this Gemara in the discussion, that Halacha comes from the word lalechet, to go. That you have to know what path you're on. And Halacha clarifies that you're on the right path. That's what this Gemara is telling us. And really that's all built on Limud HaGemara, because when we talk about Halacha, we talk about clarity, and Limud HaGemara is what gives you clarity. It shows you all of the different options and possibilities, and then the Gemara there talks about la'asuke shmaitita aliba de hilchasa. So, of course, the simple understanding is that you know how to reach psak halacha from the Gemara. But at your level, what it really means is clarity. You're learning Gemara to get clarity, and if you don't have clarity, you're not really learning the Gemara. And when you have clarity, Says the Gemara there, you're safe from everything. You know where you're going. You're insulated from all of the dangers and all of the confusion. And that's what Limud HaGemara does. And while I'm not recommending at your level Daf Yomi, I can say that it was an unbelievable experience that I can't, I mean, why should, of course, obviously I'm very happy that I did it, and I'm really overwhelmed at the response. And I've already started the second round because the first round was just like very superficial, and now this time. The second time I hope to really get it. I mean, the sectors that I learned in yeshiva, of course, they were easy, but there's lots of things that you never saw before, and that's what slows you down. And hopefully the second round is going to be a little easier, a little bit more in depth. And again, I am really just touched about the response. And I give myself a bracha that I should be able to stand up here in another 7.5 years with the next Siyum in the next round.
It's brevity in speakers, as opposed to much of the rabbinic world, much to my chagrin. That was a joke, guys. Okay. So we won't carry on too long, but I just told you what, we have 2 more important speeches. Yeah. If I could just ask, how many people, just by show of hands, who's over 30? The women don't have to answer. Who's over 30 here? Huh? Okay, 29. So Moshe, could you imagine, before you hit over 30, that you and another friend decide you can go make yeshiva? So many people are just figuring themselves out. What was I doing at 28, 29? But Karlinsky, together with his chavrusa, founded the yeshiva, and that's why we're here today. Thousands of men and women later who've been mena, have appreciated and grown in the Darkei Noam way, in the Darkei Noam institutions. And one more point, I don't want to speak about it first of all myself, but I want to talk about the chavrusa. Something very much impressed me when I came into the family 2+ years ago was the amount of sicha that the Rosh Yeshiva have. A lot of Rosh Yeshiva are very, very busy, and they don't talk in learning, they don't talk to their colleagues in learning. I'm one of them, but I'm going to be playing. I learned by myself, unfortunately. But the chavrusa, which probably went on for 40 years, over 40 years, 45 years, which continues when you see Rav Hirschfeld and Rav Karlinsky continuing speaking and learning, that's a real chaverus, that's a real friend, and we should all be zochet to find friends in our life like that, because friends in Torah have eternal value. You can have friends about all types of things. When you have a chaver in learning, you see what you can build. So for sure, if it's okay to ask a quick share something.
Also a little, one thing I can say for sure, that I have known Rabbi Shaya longer than anybody else in this room. When Rabbi Shaya and the Rebbe got married, we were walking together in the Mir Yeshiva, and they came back for Sheva Brachos to Yerushalayim within a few days after their wedding. And we had Sheva Brachos in the Mir Yeshiva. And, I was zocha to be one of the bochrim who were helping out in the arrangements there. If I remember correctly, it was on Thanksgiving Day, and we had arranged to have turkey, or some imitation of turkey that was available in Israel at the time. It goes back a number of years. And of course, as Rabbi Schoolmaker mentioned, the relationship has been a relationship primarily Torah. We were together now in Holy Yeshiva for many, many years together. But everything was focused on that hour and a half that we were able to pull out the busy schedule that we had and learn and develop. And much of the success of our program, Bezrat Hashem, over the course of the years, came from the learning that we did together and developed certain approaches to learning that we developed from our Rabbeim, and here we are today celebrating not only a Siyum of Shas, of Shaya, which is a tremendous accomplishment, but also a kind of celebration of the learning that goes on in this yeshiva, which is exemplified and symbolized by the fact that we have Rosh Yeshiva, as Schoolmaker mentioned in his earlier remarks, right, is both a Zvulun and a Yisachar. It says, we know that Klal Yisrael was divided into Shvatim. There's a Yisachar who sits and learns Torah. There's a Zvulun who supports his brother Yisachar. Smach Zvulun b'tzeisecha v'Yisachar b'ohalecha. This week's parsha, we read about the brachos of Zvulun and Yisachar. And I remember going back to the founding years of the yeshiva, how Shaya made a commitment to himself in our presence that he wasn't going to be one of those Rosh Yeshivas who gets swept away by the administration. That his dedication to the Chinuch, and Shaya is a most gifted educator, mechanech, and he was aware of his responsibility to you, and you guys here sitting are really a representative, a mikra of the body of Talmidim that we have been mechanech over the course of the last 40 plus years, the hundreds and the thousands of people who passed through the yeshiva, through the midrashah, and have been zocha to the learning and the commitment to education that Rav Shaya brings. One thing that we have to take away is we spend time in yeshiva learning how to learn. And that's our goal here. Right? How can we learn how to learn? But the message is that learning how to learn isn't enough. You have to learn. And all of our learning how to learn, and all of the methodology that we develop, and everything that we try to be able to, I can pick up a piece of Gemara, I can learn a Rashi, I can learn a Tosfos, I can learn a Pasuk in Chumash. Right? All of that is a means, all of that is a preparation for the rest of your lives. Our lives are lives of learning Torah. And just like if somebody would ask you, well, do you eat? And you wouldn't be able to answer, well, I used to eat, I used to sleep. We can't answer that. We have to eat and we have to sleep. We have to understand that the Torah is our nourishment, the Torah is our oxygen, and you can't say any point in our lives, well, I used to learn. I was once in yeshiva, and I had a great experience, and I learned some Gemara, and I learned something, and I know how to learn, and if somebody would give me a piece of Gemara, I could figure it out. That's not the goal. The goal is to take that ability and to go on and on. And Talmidei Chachamim, the Gemara says, a clean reikon, in the Derech HaOlam, if you have an empty vessel, you can fill it up. If you have a full vessel, then there's nothing to put into it. That's in the natural world. But in the world of Ruchnius, in the world of the Spirit, it's just the opposite. A clean mole, something that is full of Torah, you can put more Torah into it. And a clean reikon, and if it's an empty vessel, so then you can't put anything in it. And that's what we have to try to fill ourselves to become a clean mole. And if a person becomes a clean mole, so then the more he grows, the older he gets, and the more he understands, more and more Torah comes to him, and he is zochet to reach higher and higher levels of learning, as we have seen. Torah demands to be learned. Because the Baruch Hu gave us the Torah, and the Torah wants to be learned, needs to be learned, and it's our responsibility to learn Torah. And we have to learn from our Rosh Yeshiva, right, that the more Torah that we have, right, the greater we become, the more connected we become, the more it becomes part of us. And the more it becomes part of us, we're able to reach that tachlis which HaKadosh Baruch Hu created. So it's a bracha. I give a bracha to Rabbi Shaya. As he said, another 7.5 years we should be zocha together with his lovely family and everybody together here. But all of you guys, right, again, the Daf Yomi is not necessarily the next thing on your agenda, but that it should be in another year, another 7 years, another 15 years, another 25 years, you'll be able to stand up and say, Baruch Hashem, I was zocheh to learn how to learn Torah in yeshiva, and I've continued to learn the Torah, and I'm passing on that Torah to the next generation, and should all be zocheh to find that Isha Hoganes, the Rebbetzin, and exemplified by the Rebbetzin, and everyone out there has an Isha Hoganes waiting for him, and together you should be able to raise generations of Talmidim, inspired generations of Banim, inspired by the Torah that you learn, to carry forward the message and the lessons that we're all being learning here at the yeshiva today.
Look, I want to tell you two things you can know about Rabbi Karlinsky without knowing him. Ready? One is that he has opposite Torah. Two, that he's mechabed the Torah. He has love of Torah and he honors the Torah. How do we know that? Because we believe in Chazal. Chazal tell us in Shabbos that someone who loves the Torah is zocheh to sons who are Talmidei Chachamim. You have opposite Torah, you're zocheh to sons who are Talmidei Chachamim. And if you're mechabed the Torah, if you honor the Torah, you're zocheh to sons-in-law that are Talmidei Chachamim. So you know that. And many public figures were mashki in the family. So I don't know. I'd like to hear one time the Rebbetzin and Shaya's tricks. I'm sure the tricks is the wrong word for being mom. It's such an amazing mishpacha. We know from the little we know. Yamin's voice, by the way, just an aidus to what a big Talmid Chacham is. Don't think it's just the shliach tzibur that we hear that we enjoy on Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur and Ephraim and the shmom of the children I don't know is Cholcham L'fneihem, and I don't want to deny horror, but it's an amazing mishpacha, amazing family, and we're going to finish off with Rabbi Karlinsky, who's going to give our final drasha today.
It's very exciting for us to participate in Give Daddy's Siyum Hashas. You can feel that we got a new father, because the Gemara in Makos says, Kama tipshoi hani bavloi. How stupid are people in Bavel should bifnei shekomim bifnei HaTorah, that they stand up and they're mechabed the Torah, the Sefer Torah itself. Ve'einam komim bifnei lomdei HaTorah, and they don't stand up in front of the people who learn Torah, the Talmidei Chachamim. The Maharal explains that why is that such stupidity not to stand up in front of a Talmid Chacham if you stand up in front of a Sefer Torah? So the Maharal explains that just like a Sefer Torah there's the scroll and what's written on the scroll. That's in Torah Shebechtav. Whereas Torah Shebal Peh, it seems like there's nothing that it's all in the air. Says the Maharal and the Beis HaLevi that brings the pasuk. It says, "Kosveim al luach libecha." You should write it on your heart. Says the Beis HaLevi that the Talmid Chacham that learns Torah, he's the scroll of the Torah Shebal Peh. In other words, when we see a Talmid Chacham, it's not just a person who had learned Torah. The Torah is part of him. He's a Sefer Torah Shebal Peh. There's a Sefer Torah Shebechtav and there's a Sefer Torah Shebal Peh. Just like there's a fundamental difference between a Sefer Torah that's written fully and complete and a Sefer Torah that's missing even one letter. A Sefer Torah that's missing even one letter, according to a lot of the Rishonim, you can't make a bracha on it. One letter. There's a complete Sefer Torah is something else. So as also in a Sefer Torah Shebal Peh. The 36 Masechtas of Talmud Bavli are the complete Torah Shebal Peh. There's also 60 Masechtas, but the Talmud Bavli, which is one of the fundamental parts of Torah Shebal Peh, is the 36 Masechtas of Torah Shebal Peh. When a Talmid Chacham learns and finishes the whole Shas, the whole 36 Masechtas of Torah Shebal Peh, he becomes a Sefer Torah Sheba'al Peh, a complete Sefer Torah Sheba'al Peh that has Kedusha, it has other dinim, just like a Sefer Torah, a full Sefer Torah, a complete Sefer Torah has different dinim also. It's something else. It's something else. Someone who finished Shas, he's something else. I don't know what it is, but it's definitely something else. And we feel that, Baruch Hashem, we've been seeing, I remember when my father said last Siyum Hashas, he made the cheshbon that the next Siyum Hashas comes out on his 70th birthday. And he said, okay, I'm going to start Shas. And we looked at him like, hello? You don't have time for anything, but for what we need. And Baruch Hashem, that we see all of 7 years, every time he says, a new daddy, are you up to it? Are you behind? Usually was a little bit behind, but usually when someone is a little bit behind, he becomes, so he gives up. But my father didn't give up, and Baruch Hashem, we're all very excited, and we want to wish him, he should continue, and mitoch brius and simcha, and he should continue, and Mirz Hashem, you're all invited to the next Siyum Hashas on Beis Sivan Tavshin Pei Zayin Mirz Hashem, and Mazel Tov.